Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. And this is big news if you are a fan of the anime series Case Closed, for a number of reasons. But there's two main takeaways to get from an announcement from TMS Entertainment, who works on the Detective Conan anime. One, more Case Closed is coming to America. That's a good thing. They're trying again to make this into a big thing in America. And secondly, it looks like the Case Closed name might be dead in favor of the Detective Conan name that has been used for a long time. Now, we're going to read the announcement first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Case Closed in America, why it's called Case Closed instead of Detective Conan, and why I think this should have happened, honestly, a long time ago. So, anyway, on this Crunchyroll's news announcement, you will see that the headline is Curated Detective Conan anime episodes coming to Crunchyroll with subs, new English dub. By the way, I hear these curated episodes will also be coming to Netflix as well, so you can honestly choose which site you would want to watch these episodes on. Here's what the announcement says. TMS Entertainment has big plans for the upcoming 30th anniversary of the Detective Conan anime. The adaptation of Gosho Aoyama's hit manga will mark the occasion in 2026, and one piece of the puzzle is a selection of specially curated anime episodes making their way to Crunchyroll starting this July. Among the selection will be episodes that are not yet available in the United States, with all episodes to stream in Japanese with English subtitles, along with a debut of a brand new English dub. It kicks off on July 3rd with the sub and dub stream of Conan vs. the Black Organization, a selection of episodes that see Conan Edogawa facing off against the series' main antagonists. Beyond the episodes, the countdown to the 30th anniversary heats up with Detective Conan Cinema Saturdays. Starting July 12th, a new Detective Conan movie will stream for free on the Anime on TMS official channel on YouTube, with more to follow over the course of 26 weeks. Movies will stream on Saturdays at 7 p.m. in the form of a watch party, and each will remain on the channel for 7 days until the next movie takes its place. Conan also heads to Anime Expo 2025 on July 5th for the U.S. premiere screening of Detective Conan Black Iron Submarine. The screening will take place in the JW Diamond Panel Room at 6 p.m. local time. Based on the manga by Gosho Aoyama, the Detective Conan anime first debuted in Japan in 1996. It now spans over 1,000 episodes, some of which are available to stream on Crunchyroll under the title Case Closed, and 28 theatrical anime films. Crunchyroll describes the series. The son of a world-famous mystery writer, Shinichi Kudo has achieved his own notoriety by assisting the local police as a student detective. He has always been able to solve the most difficult of criminal cases using his wits and power of reason. Well, in my opinion, that's like half of the description. And by the way, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, which I know most of you are not, on the right side of this news article under recommended streaming, it says Case Closed, and then in quotations, Detective Conan. And if you look at it, the image that they're being used on the streaming recommendation is the same image that's being used in the press release, except the press release says Detective Conan, although there's a little note that says logo pending final approval, whereas the streaming icon thumbnail says Case Closed, One Truth Prevails. Now, let's talk about some of the history. Let's talk about some of these announcements, some of the history, and why I think we have finally seen the end of the Case Closed name. First of all, 30th anniversary, that's crazy. I can't believe it's been on the air that long. I mean, geez, I remember when it first came out in like 1996 or something like that, if I recall. And people were talking about this crazy series about this kid who solves mysteries. And it's fascinating because, like some of the best mystery shows in America, and I'm talking about things like Murder, She Wrote, The Hardy Boys, Diagnosis murder, Matlock. Actually, I would describe Detective Conan as a cross between Murder, She Wrote, and The Hardy Boys, but whatever. Where the viewer is made a participant of the mystery. There are clues there. If you are paying attention, you could potentially solve the mystery before Conan does, and that's what has made it so much fun to watch throughout the years. It's almost kind of like watching a game show where you answer the questions, and yeah, you don't personally win any money, but you feel very, very good when you correctly name an answer, and then you look at this, them making it wrong, and that's what's interesting. And then when you get it wrong and you find out how you went wrong, Detective Conan is just such a fun show. And the overarching theme, or mystery, I should say, of Conan trying to find out the mystery behind the black organization that turned him into a kid. Because for those of you who don't know what this is about, he's a detective, he's in high school, but he gets set up. I don't know. I'm sorry, my stutter's coming through. He gets jumped, given a poisonous pill. It's supposed to kill him, but instead it turns him into like a 6 or 7 year old kid, something like that. Now he is solving adult mysteries as a 7 to 10 year old. I don't know how old he is, to be honest, despite how long I've been watching it. So, it's just a very fun show. Now, it has a rocky history when it comes to America. Originally, Fox Kids considered looking at the show. They were having success with Digimon, Digital Monsters, and a couple other anime, and so they were kind of looking at Detective Conan, like, well, maybe we could bring Detective Conan, there's a detective league and everything. Ultimately found out that the show was way too violent and bloody, like, editing it would have been almost a fruitless endeavor. There are episodes that I think would have been Fox Kids friendly, but you'd have probably gotten like I think at that time, a 5 to 7 episode season if you were lucky. It really, if they were to attempt that now, they could probably get several seasons of just detective club or kid videos or episodes where they're like finding a cat or something like that. They could probably make it work now, but back then it was just way too fresh. So they gave up the idea. And then finally Cartoon Network ended up picking it up from Funimation, and Funimation wanted this to be one of their next big series. But the thing is, while this show I think should have probably been on Toonami, it was just too violent for Toonami at the time, so they put it on Adult Swim. But instead of premiering at like 9 or 10, where it would have like a good shot to get good ratings, it premiered at 1:30, whatever it was. Now, I remember staying up late that night to watch it because I'd always been curious about the show. And then it became like a nightly watch thing for me, where I would wake up late at night, my parents wouldn't know, and I would watch Case Closed. But that's not going to get great ratings, and ultimately Cartoon Network didn't renew the show. Funimation kept it going on DVD for a while. I bought as many releases as I could, but ultimately it just never sold enough to get people that heavily invested in it. And one of the reasons may have been the name. Now, we'll talk about the name in more detail later, but it was decided to call it Case Closed. Also, it was decided that they would Americanize the name. So instead of Shinichi Kudo, you got like Jimmy Kudo. Instead of Ron, it was Rachel. I normally oppose such changes, but I kind of got it in this case. They really wanted this to be mainstream, and the Americanized names would help. Interestingly, Dr. Agasa did not get a name change, although he had like a German accent or something. It was really weird. And by the way, this is probably one of Funimation's best dubs. I thought the casting was pretty much perfect. I actually liked some of the voices, like Jimmy's, Conan's, Richard's, Detective Moore. I liked their English voices more than the Japanese voices. So I think it was, name changes aside, an excellent dub. And I'm not such a purist that I'm going to lose sleep over Ron being called Rachel or something like it. It's just not gonna happen. Like, it's like the dub was of a high quality, but the thing never caught on, and I think Case Closed was, the name itself was a problem. And I believe it's a problem because I spent years trying to convince people to watch this show, and I cannot tell you how many times this has come in the conversation. Oh, I really recommend Case Closed. It's an excellent mystery show. Oh, are you talking about Cold Case? No, it's called Case Closed. I mean, it was too similar to the name Cold Case. And also, it was like a generic name. Now, why did they change the name? Well, personally, I think they just looked at the American market, saw what many of the crime dramas were called, and like, let's pick a name that's similar to one of those. So it kind of lets people know that that's what I personally think. That was not the official reason. The official reason, and this could very well be legitimate, by the way, was that because Conan was in the name, there was this big lawsuit going on with Spike TV at the time. They were transitioning into a new name. The previous name they were getting rid of. I forgot what the previous name was. And Spike Lee sued the network for using his name, even though Spike Lee isn't even his real name, just to let you know. Love Spike Lee as a director, but that was a dumb lawsuit. But it started getting other people interested about suing companies who were using names similar to their name. So I think the official reason was, well, look, there's Conan O'Brien, there's Conan the Barbarian. We don't want to get sued over this name, so we're going to call a case closed. Now, that's the official reason. I don't think that's the reason it was. I think they thought that Case Closed was a better name. They had a catchy slogan, One Truth Prevails. Personally, if they had released it as Detective Conan, first of all, you can't copyright a name. That's one of the reasons the Spike TV lawsuit got dropped. But secondly, if someone was suing over the show, I can guarantee you people would have watched it. That would have been better marketing than anything that they had done. But, it's neither here nor there. And it just never went anywhere. But that's why it happened. And I've kind of sensed that TMS was kind of starting to slowly move away from the Case Closed brand. First of all, again, if you're looking at the screen, if you're not under the recommended streaming tab, it does still say Case Closed, but in brackets it says Detective Conan. So they're kind of using two names right now. But I noticed when I started buying the movies on Blu-ray that, yes, the cardboard slipcover would have the Case Closed name on it. But you take the cardboard off and you look at the Blu-ray case itself, and it said Detective Conan all over the place. The menus all said Detective Conan. The disc said Detective Conan. Really, you would have no idea they were still using the Case Closed branding if you didn't have that cardboard setting. So that's the reason I was sensing that they were starting to move away from it. And now, with the 30th anniversary, it's like, okay, you know what? This is kind of a reboot time. It's Detective Conan now. It's not going to be Case Closed. Here's the thing. In the statement, they don't actually say it's no longer going to be Case Closed. But except for Crunchyroll adding the fact that some episodes stream on their site under the Case Closed name, on none of the announcements is the name Case Closed ever brought up. I think they are done with that name. And I think it's just about time, because I think the name was for the longest time a liability. Detective Conan has a much sexier sound to it, with all due respect. It is a catchy name. It's distinct. Heck, it even kind of explains what the show is. It's about a detective named Conan. Case Closed, that could describe a detective show. It could also describe a lawyer show, or maybe a cop procedural. You never know. It was too generic of a name. By the way, I've also noticed that under recommended streaming, Magic Kaito 1412, which was the Phantom Thief Kid in the Case Closed dub, that anime is streaming on Crunchyroll. I didn't realize that. That's what I'm going to be streaming tonight, but that's a little side tangent. And I like the fact that TMS is actually doing like a real big rollout. Now, when they say there's a brand new English dub, they did hire new voice actors for the most recent movies that they've been dubbing. I think the dub is okay. I vastly prefer the Funimation dub. And I kind of wish that they had, at the very least, hired those voice actors back. But at the same time, most of the new voices are fine, although I do not like Conan's voice. Look, I've had 4 movies to get used to it now. Guys, I'm sorry, it's not a good voice. They really need to get the voice actors who voice Conan in the Funimation dub back, or get a new voice, something to that effect, because I don't think it's a good voice. But that being said, I'm assuming they're going to continue with those voice actors, because I can't see them starting this thing all over again. They've already dubbed a couple seasons with this voice cast. They've dubbed several movies. I'm assuming they're eventually going to want to dub all of it if they can at least make this a minor success. So I think they're going to stick to their guns on that one. But many of these episodes will have brand new dubs. What's also interesting is that they have mentioned that they're going to be specially curated episodes making their way to the service. And I think this is probably the best thing they can do at the time being. I think to have a dub that has essentially a Dragon Ball Z Kai sort of vibe, like we're going to do a manga cut of the anime dub. Because, look, as much as the vast majority of the anime is enjoyable, there's not a lot in the main story. Like, there's a lot of filler episodes. There's actually guides out there for Detective Conan people who are new, where they actually mark, okay, this episode introduces a new character. This episode is relevant to the main story. This episode has the Black Organization. This episode has Kaito Kid, because even if not all the episodes are main story related, he's probably the best character in the show. So they actually have guides so that you can like kind of, if you don't want to like delve into like the hundreds of episodes that there are, then you can kind of pick and choose which ones you want to do. And I think we're going to get something similar to that. I think they're going to lean more into the story-heavy anime. They're going to try to get people re-hooked into the storyline as best as they can, and then the filler episodes can kind of be, quote-unquote, filled in later on if they so choose to. And I love the fact that they're basically going to be doing live streams, like live watch parties for movies starting July 12th. Heck, I might even partake in those. We might do live streams where I can't show you the movie on the screen, obviously, but we can get in a room, I can turn on the mic, and we can enjoy the movie together for the first time. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I like the way, like, this is definitely like reading, like, they have learned some mistakes. They took a long, hard look at what they're doing. They're like, okay, what are some of the problems? Well, not a lot of it is in English. So many filler episodes, people don't know where to start. The name is a problem. We've not turned this into an event. It just kind of comes and goes. Like, so I think they actually looked at this, and I hope that it finally catches on. I don't think it's ever going to be as big as it is in Japan. In fact, one of the biggest ironies of this whole thing is, like, a month or so after Funimation lost the license to the show, Conan O'Brien did find out about the series, and he dedicated several episodes to not only talking about the show, but going to Japan and to the home country where Conan is celebrated. I mean, boy, talk about rotten timing. That would have been Funimation's opportunity had they saw the license and say, hey, guess what, folks? As seen on Conan O'Brien, new episodes of Case Closed are coming to Funimation now. I mean, the timing of that was so poor. I could not believe that was a thing. I just couldn't believe that was a thing. Now, the big question I have about all of this is what's going to happen to the Case Closed manga, because Viz Media has been releasing Case Closed since 2000 something, and I've been buying it ever since. I think I'm up to book 96. All 96 of those books have the Case Closed branding on them. And they do continue to use the English names. Now, it would probably not be the worst thing in the world for Viz Media to have this epiphany where it's like, okay, you know what? Starting with volume 100, because that's coming out in a few months, we're going to revert to the Japanese names. It's going to be called Detective Conan. We can do that. Do you republish the old books? Like, do you create this like weird thing on the shelf? Like, what does Viz Media do about the Case Closed manga? They're separate from TMS Entertainment. They're going to do what they're going to do. And by the way, if you have not tried the Viz Media manga app, it's $3 a month. You can read all of Detective Conan in manga form on that app, along with other series like Demon Slayer and stuff like that. So it's very much an app worth paying for. I just wonder what's going to happen there. But that's kind of like a side thing. Right now, I am very much happy and very much excited to start watching Detective Conan in the US again. I don't know which one I'm going to watch it on, to be honest. I kind of think I might do a little of both, but I might lean more towards Netflix, because I think if the numbers are good on Netflix, like getting 10 seasons of Detective Conan on their site would cost a fraction of what it would cost to do like one season of Squid Game, or half a season of Squid Game even. Like, you know, relatively speaking, dubbing Detective Conan would be a very cheap endeavor for Netflix. So if they got that viewership, they might pay to have more of it come over, whereas Crunchyroll might not. Just my personal thought on that. I don't know how this is all going to work out. I know I was watching it on new episodes on Tubi for a while. I assume everything that's been dubbed will already show up on these sites. I also kind of am curious, are they going to do little rollouts of the episodes as well? Are they going to do like 12 episode drops every week to kind of keep people coming back and build the audience? It's going to be very interesting. And of course, I'm going to just put this out there. I don't know if anyone involved in any of this is listening, but guys, it would really behoove you to put Detective Conan episode 1 on the websites, like on the streaming services. I'm not talking about like the very first episode of the TV show, but the movie Detective Conan episode 1, so that people can have a starting point. If you don't do that, I sense all of this is going to be a moot point. Oh, there's another thing I should mention. In this logo, they have a bunch of screenshots from various different episodes of the TV show, and some of the episodes are pretty darn early in the show, so I do wonder if they will have a new dub of the introduction of Kaito Kid. That would make a lot of sense. It's going to be very interesting to see how this shapes up, but if they don't have that Detective Conan episode 1 movie available, it's going to be a problem attracting new people, I think. So anyway, those are my thoughts on what's going on with this situation. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think it's finally going to take this time? Do you think Detective Conan's finally going to be a hit in America? Or do you think it's just wishful thinking? And if it is on Netflix and Crunchyroll, which platform are you going to watch it on? I would love to know. So if you are listening to this podcast where there are comments available, please comment below. I would love to hear. And hey, if you like this episode and you are new here and you want to hear more, let's make our relationship official. Subscribe to the podcast. We are on YouTube, Google doesn't have podcasts anymore. I'm sorry. Apple, Deezer, Spotify, all the podcasting apps of your choice. And as always, folks, I'll see you at the movies. Take care, everyone. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Just a few more things. First of all, the names that you see on the screen, these are our Patreon and YouTube member supporters, and I thank each and every one of them. Their support helps me make exclusive videos for Patreon and YouTube members, as well as keep the channel running, and of course is just of huge kindness to me. Also, don't forget to check out the iCritic-led podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Deezer, whatever podcasting service you listen to, it is there. We definitely want to see you there. And hey, there's also other videos that you can check out. So, check out these other channels, these other videos, especially that one. I think that's a really good one.